On a cold, dark night in New York City, a police officer walked slowly along a quiet street. He looked into shop windows and checked the doors. He wanted to make sure everything was safe. The wind was strong and very few people were outside. As he walked, he saw a man standing in the doorway of a dark shop. The man was waiting there very still with a cigar in his hand. The police officer stopped and looked at him. The man in the doorway smiled and said, "It is all right, officer. I am not doing anything wrong. I am just waiting for a friend. We made this plan 20 years ago." The officer nodded. 20 years ago?" he asked. "Yes," said the man. "It sounds strange, I know, but it is true. 20 years ago, on this same night, I had dinner here with my best friend. At that time, there was a restaurant here. It was called Big Joe Brady's." The officer looked around the street. "That restaurant is gone now," he said. "I know," the man replied. "It was closed years ago. But this is the place. My friend Jimmy Wells and I ate here together on the night before I left New York." The officer became interested. "And after 20 years, you both agreed to meet here again?" "That is right," said the man. "We were young then, very close, like brothers. I was going west to make money. Jimmy stayed here in New York. He loved this city. We both believed that no matter what happened, we would meet again here, exactly 20 years later." The officer smiled a little. "That was a long time to wait." "Yes," said the man, "but I knew Jimmy would come if he was alive. He was the truest friend in the world." The officer looked carefully at the man. He wore a long coat and had a pale face. He also wore a large diamond on his tie and another on his watch. He looked successful, maybe rich. The waiting man lit his cigar. For a moment, the light showed his strong face and sharp eyes. "I have done well in the West," he said proudly. "I hope Jimmy has done half as well. He was a good man, but he was always slower and quieter than me. I had to fight hard and move fast to get what I wanted." The officer listened, then said, "I hope your friend comes soon." "Thank you, officer," said the man. The officer walked on. The man kept waiting. The street was quiet. 10 minutes passed, then 20. The wind grew colder. Still, the man stayed there. At last, a tall man in a long coat came quickly across the street. "Is that you, Bob?" he asked. The waiting man stepped forward with excitement. "Is that you, Jimmy Wells?" "Bob, it is wonderful to see you again," said the tall man. "Jimmy, I knew you would come," said Bob. They began to walk down the street together. "It has been a long time," said Bob. "You look good, Jimmy. New York has been kind to you." "And you seem to have done well too," said the other man. "Oh yes," said Bob. "The West gave me many chances. I have seen many places and done many things." They walked under the streetlights and talked like old friends. Bob spoke warmly and loudly. The other man spoke less, but he stayed friendly. At the next corner, they came under the bright light of a drugstore. Bob turned and looked closely at his friend's face. Then suddenly, he stopped. "You are not Jimmy Wells," he said. The tall man also stopped. For a moment, there was silence. "No," he said quietly. "I am not Jimmy Wells." Bob stepped back. "You are not my friend. 20 years can change a man, but not that much." "That is true," said the tall man. "Sometimes 20 years changes a good man into a bad one." Bob's face became hard. "What do you mean?" The man took a step closer. My name is not important. I'm a plainclothes police officer. You are under arrest, Bob. We've been looking for you. Chicago police sent a message about you. They say you are wanted there. Bob stood still. His face lost all color. The officer touched his arm. Come with me quietly. Before we go, here's a note for you. It is from Jimmy Wells. Bob took the note with shaking hands and opened it. He read, Bob, I was at the place on time. When you lit your cigar, I saw your face clearly. I knew you were the man wanted by the Chicago police. I could not arrest you myself, so I asked another officer to do it. Jimmy. Bob finished reading and looked down at the paper for a long moment. He said nothing. A few minutes earlier, he had been full of hope. He believed he would meet his old friend and remember the past. And in a way, he did meet him. Jimmy came. Jimmy remembered. Jimmy did not forget the meeting. But life had changed both men. Once they were two young friends with dreams. Now they stood on opposite sides of the law. Bob slowly folded the note and put it into his pocket. Then he lifted his head and walked quietly with the officer into the night.